Week 1 is in the books, and it was a tale of two cities in terms of a tale of two betters in terms of Prop Nation, because I think I very much struggled this Week 1 opening slate, whereas Sully pretty much hit everything. I can't think of a single prop that he put out into the World Wide Web that did not hit. So let's see if we can go through, take a look at some of the games, probably what happened there, and see what we can work out some of the results here. Can even go back to the opening night on Thursday Night Football. So I was very high on Jalen Hurts getting the 210 passing yards. That didn't happen. I stacked that with AJ Brown. That did not happen. Sully, however, got the Javonte Williams 2 catches. That did happen. We were both high on Javonte Williams there, so that was a good spot for him. So that did cash. Friday night game in Brazil. That was a great game between the Chargers and the Chiefs. Good to see the Chargers come out on top. I did need the Chiefs to win. That did not happen. I was high on Xavier Worthy for that game. He got injured after 3 snaps. And then it was sort of the Hollywood Brown show from there on out. That both teams really, really struggled to run the ball. That is one thing that I did a little bit better. I was not on rookies. I'm always off rookies Week 1, and that proved to be the right way to go about it, unless your name is Emeka Egbuka. And I think there's only one person in the world whose name is Emeka Egbuka, so that's good. Okay, let's take a look at the Sunday slate. So if you watched the episode from the other day, please like and subscribe. That helps us out as well. So Sully had some great picks. So Sully brought up, the first pick was Breece Hall. I mean, that absolutely smashed it. So Steelers, Jets, that ended up being a great game, probably the game of the week. Breece Hall, 19 carries, 107 yards, with a long of 18 rushing yards. That was awesome. Justin Fields finished 16 and 22 for 218 and 1. He had a really, really good game, all things considered. No interceptions for him. Aaron Rodgers had a good game as well. And so this is the other pick that Sully was high on. He had DK Metcalf going over. I think DK needed like 50 or 60 yards. That hit. He had 4 catches for 83 yards. And that's vintage DK as I remember him from the days in Seattle, where, you know, it would be like 3 catches, 4 catches, but 80 to 100 yards every game. He was also really high on Calvin Austin, who had a good game, 4 catches, 70 yards. The tight ends were a little bit involved. Jono Smith had 5 catches for 15 yards, and Frymouth had 3 for 28, so that was good to see. It was a tough day. You know, we talked about the success that Breece Hall had, but man, it was a tough day for running backs across the board everywhere. I think Bijan was down. I'll see if I can find this tweet. Yeah, so Underdog Fantasy posted some rushing lines today. Bijan, 12 carries, 24 yards. Chase Brown, 21 carries, 43 yards to get the touchdown. Bucky Irving. So we'll talk about Rachaad White in a second, but Bucky Irving, 14 carries, 37 yards. Ashton Genty, 19 carries, 38 yards. Tyrone Tracy, the Giants, 10 carries, 24 yards. And James Conner, he was also in my picks, which I didn't post live. Actually, if you follow us on Reddit, I did. 12 carries, 39 yards was absolutely brutal. So let's stick to this game. I mean, it was, tough for everyone. Okay. My first pick that I opened, we just talked about Rachaad White, so we may as well get into that now. I was feeling fantastic about this pick, even halfway through the game. You know, he ripped off an 11-yard run. He finished 2 carries for 14 yards. He needed 1, maybe 2 more carries, and that would have hit. And, I mean, the biggest issue for the Bucs there was that Falcons just had the ball, man. If I could find the time of possession, Falcons just had the ball, especially in the second half. They really, it's like the The Bucs were so efficient when they had the ball. Baker was efficient. He finished 17 to 32 for 167 and 3. So he had a bad game, so this is crazy. So Baker had 167 passing yards. He had 39 rushing yards. Bucky was 14 for 37, as I mentioned. Rachaad White was 2 for 14. Those are some really, really, really low numbers, and they won the game. Listen to the Falcons. Penix, 27 of 42 for 298 and 1. No interceptions. Bijan, 6 catches, 100 yards. Kyle Pitts, 7 catches, 59 yards. Drake London, he was on fantasy everywhere, 8 catches, 55. Wasn't a great outing from him. He had a couple of brutal drops as well. So I was feeling good about Rachaad White. It just was not to be. Okay, let's get to Sully's next pick, which I called the grossest game of the week. It was the Dolphins and the Colts, and it ended up being absolutely Tua just absolutely barfing all over himself. He finished 14 of 23 for 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That is disgusting. And then towards the end, Zach Wilson came in. I mean, Underdog didn't mention this one, but Devon Achane, 7 carries, 55 yards, just bleak. 3 catches for 20 yards. Tyreek was 4 for 40. Jalen Waddle was 4 for 30. Just brutal stat lines. But Sully was on Tyler Warren in his first game in the NFL. Daniel Jones finished 22, 29, 272, 1. Jonathan Taylor, 18 for 71. I guess you'd call that a good game. DJ Giddens came in as well once it was completely blown out. 12 for 41. But Tyler Warren, 7 catches, 76 receiving yards, a long of 21. Michael Pittman Jr., 6 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Sully just so innately understands bad quarterbacks. I feel like he gets them so much, and he knows what they're going to do. And the Miami Dolphins somehow did not know what Daniel Jones was going to do. So that's how that one went. I'm looking at the look ahead line for next week. Miami plays the Patriots -1.5 at home. I'm actually mildly tempted to bet on the Dolphins in that spot. I know it's stupid, but there's actually a bit of analysis out there that says if you get blown out that badly one week, usually, especially if you return home, you bounce back a lot better the next week. Okay, let's get to my next terrible pick that just did not work out. Brian Thomas Jr. I felt like everyone was on Brian Thomas Jr. to hit, and maybe that was the problem. Maybe that's what I got wrong, was just everyone was betting the overs of Brian Thomas Jr. He needed 72.5 receiving yards. He finished with 1 catch for 11 yards. He also got a touchdown on an end around. Trevor Lawrence was not good in this game. He was 19-31, 178, 1 touchdown, 1 brutal interception. I mean, look, Trevor Lawrence, say what you will about him. Bryce Young was bad in this game. He was, dare I call him vintage Bryce Young? The bad part of Bryce Young? Bryce Young finished 18-35 for 154, 1 and 2 interceptions. Chuba was 16 carries for 57 rushing yards. It's not great. All the running backs were bad. Actually, you know who wasn't bad? Travis Etienne. My longtime stan, Travis Etienne. 16 carries, 143 rushing yards. He ripped off that 71-yarder. And, had he not, he would have finished on 15 carries for 70 yards. So thank God he broke through. But I think the Panthers are a defense we might want to target potentially in the run game. But JC Horn was very good in this game, and Brian Thomas was completely shut down. Jags' leading receiver was Brenton Strange with 4 catches, 59 yards. It was a weather delay in this game, which obviously might have caused a few problems, but that was my next pick that didn't work. Good to see the Jags get the win. I thought that they'd win that. They were only -1.5 point favorites in that game, and Ended up being a blowout pretty early on. So you love to see that. We were on that, which was nice. This Giants-Commanders game. Sully and I were both on the Giants in this spot. I thought that they would cover the 5.5. They did not. Washington wins 21-6. And Russell Wilson looked bad in this game. He had moments where he flashed, but for the most part, he looked pretty bad. Jaden Daniels, 19-30, 233, and 1. He looked excellent in this game. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, better known as Bill, 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Love to see that. Okay, one bet that I was on that I didn't post about, but I did hit was Austin Eckler. He needed over 25.5 rushing yards. He had 6 carries for 26 rushing yards against a very good Giants front four. But who cares? Sully was on Theo Johnson. Theo Johnson for 3 catches, and this one fell short. Theo Johnson had 1 catch, 5 yards. But I will say he had a couple of brutal drops. He had one very, very brutal drop. He had another catch, which was fantastic over the middle of the field, and it got called back on a penalty. So dare I say, man, Sully, you would have gone perfect if not for that brutal drop and that penalty. Best player in this game would have been potentially Deebo Samuel. 7 catches, 77 yards. 1 carry for 19 yards, 19-yard gain. That's nice. You like to see that. Malik Neighbors, 5 catches, 71 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 for 55. Let's talk about the Cardinals and the Saints. Sully and I were both very on this game. Sully was on Spencer Rattler to go over 190.5 passing yards. Spencer Rattler finished 27 of 46 attempts, 214 yards. So that hit. I was high on Chris Olave. He had a line of 40.5. He finished 7 for 54, so that's very nice to see. Did get another one back there. Probably this is the one I'm most disappointed about out of all my picks. I didn't post it live, but if you follow us on Reddit, you would have seen it in the subreddits for Sportsbook. I was really high on James Conner in this spot. I thought he'd be very good. 12 carries for 39 yards. Was not going to get it done. I was on Marvin Harrison Jr. though, so he needed 60.5 receiving yards. He finished 5 catches for 71 and 1. That was really nice to see. Very glad that as much as Arizona's the Seahawks divisional rival, Saints are bad. I think that they're going to have a really, really tough season. I don't think Rattler was particularly good in this game, even though he could have tied it. He could have tied it late, but it was an ugly drop in the end. Just some other disappointing results of picks that I was on that didn't go to fruition. So had Jamar Chase in my fantasy league. He's my number 1 receiver. He had a really bad game, 2 catches, 26 yards. He was just completely shut down there. T. Higgins, I was on for bets. He had a line of like 50.5, 55.5, something like that. Finished 3 catches for 33 yards. That was tough scenes. Dylan Sampson was the main primary ball carrier for the Browns, 12 carries for 29 yards. You think that they want Quinshon Judkins to come sooner rather than later? They definitely need that. We'll say Browns should have won this game, though. The Bengals, I'm not fully convinced that they've broken the curse of September. I think Browns were 2 rookie kicker, missed field goals, extra points away from winning this game. They were like point blank in front of the goals. They were like 27 yards out. They should have put it through. Perhaps Joe Burrow could have gone down. Nice game. You know who was bad was Jerry Jeudy. I know he finished with a decent stat line of 5 catches for 66 yards, but he had some brutal drops, really, really brutal drops. I'm going to stay completely away from Jerry Jeudy this entire season, unless somehow Jameis Winston gets somehow transferred to the team. Oh, another one I was on. Okay, let's look at the Texans, the Rams. I was on a little bit of CJ Stroud, but mostly Nico Collins was the way I wanted to play this. CJ Stroud against the Rams. So the Rams lose 14-9. They were driving down the field in the fourth quarter to win the game. and Dare Gumbawale fumbles the ball, turnover, game is over. Stroud finished 19-27 for 188, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He did have 5 carries for 32 yards. Nick Chubb, 13 for 60. All things considered, that's not a bad result. The leading Texans receiver was Jaden Higgins in his first game with a measly 2 catches, 32 yards. Xavier Hutchinson, 2 catches. Schultz, 3 catches. Justin Watson, 2 catches. Nico Collins, 3 catches, 25 yards, along with 14. Cade Stover, 4 catches. Cade Stover led the second-year tight end, led the Texans in catches, 22 yards. Jalen Noel, 1 for 7. Gumbawale, 2 for 17. It was a brutal game for the Texans. Thought the Rams looked pretty good. I thought this was basically like 2 just really good defenses going at it. So that was good to see. But yeah, Nico Collins, 3 for 25. I think his line was like 75.5. It was just nowhere near it. Puka Nacua, 10 catches, 130 yards. You love to see that. That's really nice. Kyron Williams, 18 for 66 and a touchdown. And let's finish on... Well, actually, before we finish, I'm going to talk briefly about the Monday Night Football game between the Bears and the Vikings. But let's talk about the Seahawks. My Seahawks, this was a brutal loss. I'm very concerned about the season. This is a game we should have won. Mike McDonald has an opportunity to go for it in the 4th, late on 4th and less than 1, kicks the field goal, takes the lead. Niners get the ball back. Brock Purdy does Brock Purdy magic. He finishes 26 for 35 for 277, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was throwing the game away. Ricky Pearsall finished with 4 for 108. And it looked fantastic. George Kittle got injured. He was out. Thought, here we go. This is the Seahawks game to lose, and lose it they did. Niners drive down the field. Get an incredible touchdown catch from, I want to get this right, from Jake Tongas in his first game, 3 catches, 15 yards, and a touchdown over the top of Tariq Woolen. It was hard to see. Tariq Woolen is getting a lot of fire at the moment. I think that he played a 5th-round pick type of game where there's flashes of brilliance. He reached out to just deflect a ball that would have been a sure touchdown. Anyone else, so long and skinny, he got to it. Anyone else's body type would not have got to that. It would have been a touchdown. But that last one, man, that was brutal. He was going for the interception. Ball gets ripped out of his hands. Not even close. So that was tough to see. I wasn't really on any bets in this game for that reason. Hate betting on my own team. Cooper Kupp, 2 catches, 15 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 9 catches, 124 yards. Really was I thought Zach Charbonnet looked okay in this game. 12 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. He did have long of 7. Sam Darnold, though, 16 23, 150. That's brutal. That's Jets Sam Darnold that you just do not want to bring into your building, which they've done. Okay, let's finish up with a couple of picks here. Let's see if we can turn it around. I did mention on the show already, you would have heard it. My gut feel is Caleb Williams over 216.5 passing yards. Find against the Vikings. This is a good spot against the Brian Flores defense. I'm wondering if they take a step back, even though Brian Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. I just feel like, he blitzes a ton, and Caleb against the blitz is not too bad. He can usually scramble. He's usually pretty consistent with his check down. So I'm feeling okay about this. We even mentioned in the show, in the first game against the Vikings in week 10 last year, Caleb had something like 314 passing yards. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a really, really good game. So I like the over 216. That's now up to 220. He hasn't done that in quite some time, but still feeling fairly good about it. He's getting 31 pass attempts. Also really like that. I like the weapons around him. I like what Ben Johnson's doing. I don't believe that DeAndre Swift is going to be this, pound the rock type, 18 carries a game type player. He's currently getting 14.5 rushing attempts, DeAndre Swift is, for 55 yards. Just don't mind that. I'm off Aaron Jones. He needs 50.5. I'm not looking that way. Now, JJ McCarthy as well in his first NFL game appearance ever in prime time on the road in Chicago to get 220 passing yards. I don't love that. I kind of like to bet him under the 1.5 passing touchdowns as well. Haven't given it a huge amount of thought though, so we'll stay off that. Justin Jefferson, 75.5 receiving yards. Well, if there's one thing we've learned, let's stay off these big name players, big name fantasy football players who just did not come through. Rome Odunze has a fairly decent line of 50.5 receiving yards as well, which I don't mind. DeAndre Swift as well. I just want to mention you could get him for 1.5 receptions. I think that's now bet up to 2.5. The other one I really like in this game is Colston Loveland. He's now up to 30.5 receiving yards. That's a bit tricky. He was at 20.5 it opened with, which is what I got him at. And I like that line because I think he was used a ton in the preseason. I think he's going to be the primary tight end as far as catching goes. I think Cole Kmet will still catch the ball plenty, but I think he's going to be used more blocking now. So that's the way I'd look at that. Loveland, 25.5 receiving yards if you can get it. I like Rome for over 50.5 receiving yards. I like Caleb for over 216.5 passing yards as well. That's going to do it for another episode. Thanks for the recap. Just wanted to try this out. Just wanted to talk about all my losses and failures and all of Sully's very, very good wins. So he's off to a really, really good start. We'll be back. I'm going to try and do the Thursday night game as well. That's going to be between the Commanders going to Green Bay. Looks like a really good matchup, so I want to try that one. We'll be back with the Sunday slate for week 2 as well. We'll go through our bets, our lines, our props. We'll comb over all the hundreds that are out there, see if we can find you the best ones. And of course, Sully will be back in the hot seat as well. So until then, like, subscribe, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. It really helps us out. And listen on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review because that helps as well. Until then, enjoy the week, enjoy the games ahead. We'll catch you soon. Goodbye.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly. In Australia, phone 1-800-858-858 for free and confidential support. In Canada, learn about safer play at Know the Risks from the Responsible Gambling Council at knowtherisks.ca. In America, must be 21 or older and present in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. Colorado, gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Connecticut, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Indiana, gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Kansas, gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it smart from the start or call 1-800-GAM-1234. In Michigan, gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. In New York, for help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Tennessee gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Prop Nation betting show is for entertainment purposes only and should in no way be considered financial advice.